this one I might hold on to for a while, just because it, it's it was such a powerful thing, um, that it nearly. I mean, I'll call a spade a spade. It faith is inherently kind of a crazy thing. Um, and I guess I'll talk about it, but I really felt, and I've mentioned it, that I felt like I had a true and genuine conversation with God, like whatever that is. I don't think that it's Jesus Christ necessarily, or anything like that. I think that God has made multiple ways to get to him. I've been thinking about what I think my personal, you know, I kind of just had a revelation that God is real. And I guess I'm going to talk about that experience and what I think about that and what I think morally, you know, is permissible, I guess, to say. Like, most of these religions come with a lot of rules. And, so overnight you feel like you have to shape yourself into something that's not really attainable overnight. And I think it makes religion very challenging, for people that were like me before, where you have to really try and be some ideal, and it leaves you scared about, like, well, what if I don't reach it? And you might never have that moment of connection to him, whatever you're trying to reach out and connect to. But the connection that I felt that I had was so strong, like it actually comes off as like delusional, because what I experienced with him, and I guess this is the part that I'm considering not sharing, is that what I considered is that anything that you can picture, you can actually do. Anything. And that's the part that is a very scary thought. And what I said to God when I realized that is that, like, so I can literally do anything. Like, I can do anything that is within my power to do it. Almost as far as I can stretch my imagination. Obviously, there are limits to that. But there is a crazy thing, a dream that you could have, and you can do it. You just have to put all your effort into it. And every single doubt, that I've been having a lot of them. But at this moment of lucidity, which, forever will change me, and I might not be able to have that lucidity that I had when I first felt that I was literally talking to him. And we were having like a mind to mind meeting, and I was asking him a million questions. A lot of them had to do with, just can I really just start living now? And he's like, yeah, you could have done it any time, essentially, is what he communicated to me. It's like, you could have done it any time, and it can go exactly what you're envisioning. And I said, well, it can also go this way. And he's like, well, yeah, it can go that way too. You can go as high as you want to go. And, I don't know that personally I'll have the courage to go to that peak of humanity, this experience that everybody wants to have, this idea that, you can realize your full potential, everything that you could do, the limit of your personage, you can do it. But it's hard to really go that route. But what I feel like he showed me in that moment when I met him is that he's it's up to you. He's gonna be there for you. And it's just a scary thought to know that, like, everything you do, you still have to act it out. You still have to go through it, and you have to take every step. And the idea was that he empowers you to do it. He's going to support you to do it. But if you doubt and you take the more safe path, he's again going to support you, because it's hard to have that full, unrelenting faith. I'm a logical person. I look at my options and I evaluate the ease with which the option is, the effectiveness of the option, and all of the ups and downsides. And I try and pick one that I think makes sense. And I'm still doing that. That's still part of this process. I'm not like, hey, this is who I am. Like, this is my real name. This is where I live. This is what I do. I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm awesome. Like, no matter who you are awesome. And that's kind of what I really realized, is that all of these ways that people live their lives, all of the difference, there's like 9 billion people currently on the planet, and who knows how many that have still, you know, lived a life, and every single one of them is beautiful to God in some way. You know, He sets it all up for us, and He wants to see how we're going to do. And, I'm sure He has a lot of love for the people that don't get to live up to, the life He had hoped you would live up to. But He loves you no matter what you choose to do, even if you die on fentanyl, and that seems like such a tragic end to someone like me. Just something really bad happens, people turn to drugs. I have turned to drugs. That's something that I'll talk about. That's very recent in my life, and that's part of one of the things that I'm shameful of. There's so much out there, and I really think that God finds beauty in all of it. He understands that He puts a lot of people through things that are tough, and a lot of them succumb. And, it affects everybody else. Everybody who sees all of this hardship can appreciate their own life by seeing it. And, you have to understand that God is, that suffering is not, it still has some value, because at some point that person has probably felt, the ray of emotion that this whole thing is all about, this whole life experience is all about. Everybody's going to experience what they're meant to. And it's a beautiful idea that you are right to just go forward and try and do it better. Absolutely. I'm not saying that everything goes and you should just do whatever. You should try and do a good thing from whatever your philosophy is. And that's what I'm going to do. That's what I think God wants me to do. Am I going to do things that still embarrass me? Are the things that I'm going to talk about going to be embarrassing, or am I going to have news stories? Everything after today. Am I never going to feel shame again about new things that I do? Of course I am. I'm human, and it's coming for me too. But, the idea that, anyway, that's what God is for me right now, is He's just a supporter. He doesn't care what happens to me, as long as, He's got His hat in my corner, and that's all there is to it. He's going to support me either way. And I think that that's a really powerful thought. And it also, it's a comfort to know that, you found Him now. And having that revelation, that it really is a mind-bending experience when you really feel like He's shown Himself to you finally. And some people might not ever get to feel it. They might not be open to it. He lets you do what it is, but He tries to show Himself. And if you open your eyes, I think you'll find Him too. I guess that's all I got for here for now. Man, I'm gonna keep them coming. I'm gonna try. Hopefully, this is helping somebody.